Hi and welcome back to BookTube with Amy. So today we are doing the stock Aitkens and Waterman book tag. I was tagged in this by Emily at Novelle Novels, and the original tag was created by Jennifer at Jennifer Loves Books. So Maggie Stiefvater. She is an author that I absolutely fell in love with last year. I binge read the entire Raven cycle over the course of like a few days. I think actually I did a book a day and I did them in 4 days. I was quite obsessed, and since then I've been working my way through Maggie Stiefvater's back catalogue because I just really vibed with her writing, and I thought the characters were phenomenal, really easy to connect with and fantastically written, and I really enjoyed the world that she built. So I read the Shiver trilogy plus side companion novel last year as well, and I didn't enjoy that as much, but I did thoroughly enjoy it. The first 2 books were a 5-star for me. The end of the series was a bit of a letdown, and I have been buying other Maggie Stiefvater books. I've got the Dreamers. It's going to be a trilogy, but I only have the first one. That is the follow-on series from the Raven cycle. I'll wait until the 3rd one comes out because I will want to binge it. I also have Lament on my shelf, which is the first in another series, and then Simon bought me another Maggie Stiefvater book, which name has completely escaped me. That's a standalone one, so I'm just working my way through our back catalogue, to be honest. And although the end of the Shiver trilogy slash quartet let me down, I will still pick up anything that she's written to give it a go. So The Lost Plot by Genevieve Cogman, and this is the 4th part in the Invisible Library series, and I just finished this like yesterday, and oh my god, this was an absolutely amazing instalment. I could not put it down. I was thoroughly hooked on it. It was so amazing, and I'll only spoil anything for the series, but like every book is set in a different alternate world, and this alternate world was New York in the 1920s at the height of Prohibition. It was mobsters and politics and drama. It was so good. I did not know who to trust, I did not know who to not trust, and the amount of like secret hidden drama and twists and turns that were in this book was just phenomenal. I was on my edge right up until the last couple of chapters, because like up until the 2nd last chapter of the book you do not know how it's going to pan out, and I was like, oh my god, I was so stressed reading it because I was like, this best will be a cliffhanger, and it isn't, and it's actually still resolved brilliantly. But it was phenomenal. I was all over the place reading it. It was a really fun time. That would need to be Shuggy Bane by Douglas Stewart. I read that this year with Ange from Angie's Book Chatter and Emily from Novelle Novels, and the book just, it broke my heart. I really felt for Shuggy, I really felt for Agnes. It was just a phenomenally written book. The characters were so well done that I could imagine it being people I knew, and I just felt for them all. I felt for Agnes's other kids as well, not just Shuggy. Felt for Agnes's mum. In the end, it was just such a sad book, but a great story to have been told. So I think that this would need to be Dorian and Manon from the Throne of Glass series. I like ship them so much. Like, I don't know, see if it came to a crunch where it was like, right, you can save my relationship with Simon, or I can save Manon and Dorian's relationship, I'd my best with her. Like, nah, I'm only joking. I love them that much. Like, I just ship them so hard. Like, I was emotional about it. I was buzzing when they were together. I was frustrated when they weren't. They were just fantastic. Normal People by Sally Rooney. So I picked this up, and it's not the type of book that I would ordinarily read, but I saw that it was getting loads and loads of hype at its time of release, so I decided to buy it and try it, and I didn't mean to rhyme, and I thoroughly loved it. It was also heartbreaking, it was really quite sad. I liked the fact that we were getting sort of their inner thoughts and feelings, and then we could see that they weren't really communicating that brilliantly to each other, and it almost felt like when they were having arguments or disagreements that we knew more than they knew about each other, which was a really interesting dynamic as a reader, and it was ridiculously frustrating because I was like, just be in love and be happy, but it was a really great time. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I think I'm going to have to cheat and just say Shuggie Bain for this as well, because it was the Booker Prize winner of 2019, I think. I don't really read a lot of books that win prizes, and like, that's not a rule. I'm a bit late to the party with things. So I think as well, like, I read quite a wide variety of books, and I just don't know, I didn't, like, if I had a book on my shelf for years and years, like, I'm not going to Google it to see if it's ever won an award, and I would never buy a book just because it had won an award. So like, I didn't really know if my books have. The only way I would know if it had was like if it was one of the ones where I picked up and then it was like, it won this award, like. But I'll just cheat and say Shuggie again. J. Christoph. I've tried, believe me, I've tried. I just don't vibe with his writing style, and I know that I read predominantly YA, but I feel like he's just a bit too young for me. I don't find his characters to be very believable or very likeable. I found all the characters that I read from him to be really interchangeable, really transparent, and really annoying, and I feel like there's just so many people who can do it better. He like really heavily relies on the sassy teenage protagonist trope, and like, well, I get that that's a thing and loads of people love it, it's just not something that's for me. Like, I am grand with sass, I am quite a sassy gal myself, some would say, but like, no in place of a personality. Like, I want to know the character, I want to understand their motivations, I want to know what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and I feel like his characters just swear and shout and are sassy in lieu of any real motivation or character development, and I just kind of get on board with it. Now, this question implies that I actually continue series, and we know I do not. So the book I've picked for this is City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. This is the thirst, like, that's a thing. Well, thirst is a thing when you need a drink, but that's not what I meant. The third book in the Mortal Instruments series, and this is my favourite instalment. I haven't read these like since I was actually in high school. That's when I read these, and I loved them then, but I remember the third one just being my absolute favourite. It was also my granny's favourite as well. We like heavily geeked out over this, so this one. So I read quite a lot of poetry, but I find that I'm very fussy, and so there are very few poets whose poems I actually enjoy. I find more poets whose work I don't get on with more than poets that I actually enjoy. I think that poetry is so subjective, and it comes down to rhythm and subject and style, and a lot of poetry, a lot of modern poetry, it tends to be like, you could tweet that and people would retweet it because it's like, oh, so deep, and I just don't really don't get on board with that. But one poet that I really enjoy is Philip Larkin, We had to study a couple of Philip Larkin's poems in English in high school, and I really enjoyed them. I think that he has such a dry, cutting sense of humour at times, which like is a bit of me, and at times he can be really sweet and really romantic. He can be really reflective and thought-provoking. At times he can be a bit tongue-in-cheek and a bit dark and twisted, which is just like everything you need in a poet. I feel like you could find a Philip Larkin poem for every mood and every stage of your life, which I think is really cool. And I've been quite obsessed with him for years. I don't know if this has actually been on my TBR for the longest. I have so many books, like I am quite unsure, but I know that this has certainly been on my TBR for at least 4-5 years or something, and that is The House with the Chicken Legs by Sophie Anderson. So this, I believe, is a middle grade, and it's about our main character, and her house, as it says on the tin, has chicken legs, and so she never settles in the same place, struggles to make friends, and her gran is Baba Yaga, which is like an old Russian, well, no, a fairy tale is it, it's a bit of a nightmare, but old Russian folklore. She is a really famous Russian witch, and I got this when it was released. Me and Simon were on holiday. We were in Waterstones, and as he usually does, he sneakily purchased it for me, and it's been sitting staring at me for years, and like it sounds so my type of book. Like, I don't know why I haven't read this yet, but hopefully it'll be one that I pick up this year at some point potentially. Like, I haven't said that every other year, but if anybody's read this, let me know. Encourage me, please. I need the motivation. So I recommend this book to everyone, and it will not be a surprise, but House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. It was like my favouriteest book that I read last year. It was beautiful and thought-provoking and touching and cute and funny and quirky and just absolutely everything that you could ever want in a book. I had such a phenomenal time reading it. It is definitely one of my favourites. It had such a great message, the characters were phenomenal, and I fell in love with absolutely every single character in the book, even like the obscure side characters. I sort of had a wee soft spot for. It was just amazing, and it was such a fun, quick wee quirky book. I would recommend it to anybody to pick it up. It was fantastic. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying everything that you're reading at the moment. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!